Hello everyone, it is not just cricket, back with you this week, again slightly later than planned towards the end of the week. I've had a bad back, so I've been trying to get that sorted. Azim's got a slightly better excuse, he's living on the edge of a war zone, so we'll give him that. But anyway, we are back this week. We'll try and, as I say, we'll try and get it done a little bit earlier in the week usually, and we'll try and get that done next week. But what it does do is gives us an extra couple of things to talk about, extra couple of days of action. As promised from last week, we're going to talk about County Championship, what we saw in the first round of games, some very interesting scores, some very interesting performances. We're going to talk about the IPL, what's going on there at the moment, including a very interesting end to the Gujarat Titans Delhi Capitals game, which we'll discuss. And Azim is well on top of the PSL as well. He's going to give us a lowdown in the last few days. I haven't watched too much of it, but I have been keeping tabs, and that's been pretty interesting as well. But let's start anyway, mate, with County Championship. And we did say, didn't we, at the start of the previous episode, this is going to be one of the most interesting starts to a County Championship campaign in years, because we've got so many potential places up for grabs in the England Test side and England current players who need to perform or they're not going to keep their place. So let's start with one of those. And Jamie Smith, who isn't keeping for Surrey, failed in the first innings, didn't play a good shot, was under pressure, comes out in the second innings, scores a scintillating 100 from number 3. But he's not keeping. So it's interesting, isn't it? Do you think Jamie Smith could play just as a batter in the Test side?
I don't think so. I think over the winter, I think the technical aspects of his game were a little bit exposed. Also, the way he's batted for England, I think it's been there's been a lot of risk, like they all have. And you can do that when you have a second string to your bow. When it's the out and out thing, I'm not sure that's the method that will work for him. And it's one of the reasons I felt he needed a little bit more time in county cricket before he was promoted in, because actually I think he was on a trajectory to be able to challenge as an out and out batter. But at this stage, not for me. And the fact that he's not keeping wicket, that worries me, because these are the criticisms of this England team. Everything they do or asked to do for England, they don't do for their county. And if he's not keeping wicket for Surrey, unfortunately, I think he's out of the race, in my opinion, to be a wicketkeeper for England. I think that's a given for me, from my point of view, after the winter.
Okay, well, here's my thought on Jamie Smith. I think he is too talented a player for you to do your utmost to get him into the 11. He's too talented a batter, and I don't think his keeping is that bad at all. I think his keeping is fine. So why doesn't he go out on loan and keep wicket somewhere? Because if he's scoring runs, I feel very uncomfortable not having him in the side, because he is an X-factor player. He could be, once he gets his rhythm, he understands Test cricket more, he could be like a Gilchrist for us.
Yeah, listen, I don't think there's anyone doubting his talent. I don't think anyone's doubting his output. You put him into a Surrey team at the Oval, wherever, he has shown over and over again that he will score runs. But I think if we're going to learn from the last few years, then we have to take them learnings and actually make actions on it. If he's not keeping wicket for his county, if he's not the best wicket keeper for his county, I don't think he can be the wicket keeper for England. But that's not a new opinion from me. That I felt, I've spoken about before. What does he do? That's a very difficult one, and this is where you have the problem of counties' best interest, England's best interest. You've had it with spinners in the past. You've had it with wicketkeepers at Somerset, where Joss had to leave. So what does he do? Are Surrey going to say, yeah, hold on a minute, he's one of our best batters, go off on loan to keep wicket? They're not going to do that. So that's just not a possibility. Can they share it? Can they get enough wicket keeping into him before the first test? If he is England's number one, I think for me, county cricket's first priority is to produce England players. That's my view. That might not be everyone's view. I think if a bit of communication went from the England setup in a respectful way, I, I don't see why they wouldn't consider sharing. But then, will Ben Folks be happy sharing? It's a big problem. It's a real big problem for England. I understand what you mean from a batting point of view. Listen, if he's got 4 500s going into the first test, listen, then you have to consider him as an out and out batter. Why not? That might be what ends up happening.
James Root started brilliantly, half century and then a century, batting the top order as well for Somerset in their game against Nottinghamshire. Do you think he is now in pole position to be the keeper? And if he does play for England, where does he bat?
Yeah, I think out of all the young players that are coming through, he feels like the most rounded batsman. He's got 12 first-class hundreds at the age of 22, which means he's got it in different conditions. He's got it in different situations. So, and my worry with him keeping wicket is I actually think he has the ability to, as an out and out batter, score big hundreds at the test level. Everything I've watched with him, it just gives me a lot of calm. In a way, what Ollie Pope never gave me when you watched him. As much as I love Ollie Pope and the runs he scores, he never brought calmness when he batted. Every bit of James Rew that I've watched, he strikes me as someone that's going to just bring calm to the dressing room, calm to his partner, and calm all around. And I think these are very, very good traits for someone to step in. And yeah, I really back him to score a lot of hundreds. I don't want him to keep wicket. I really don't. I don't want him to have that second part to it. If it's needed, down the line and stuff on a tour, etc. Maybe he can step in, but I don't want him to do another string when his batting could be very, very good.
So why couldn't he open the batting then? Him and Duckett, top of the order.
He could. He could. There's no reason why he couldn't. That might be the option because you've got Bethel at 3. Don't forget. So yeah, it very much could happen. And I think he'll be completely fine. I really do. I think it technically looks sound to me. He looks like he's got the technique of an opener and the mindset of someone who's going to, get stuck in. And that doesn't mean block it. He's got really good method. And, once he gets past 30 or 40, he's going to get 100. He excites me. And I think I've been saying it for the last year. He really excites me because of the calmness that he brings and the all-roundedness about his game. So, yeah, he very much could be Duckett's partner.
What about Emilio Gay of Durham? Because he actually got the first century of the county championship season. I think he was batting at number 3, wasn't he? But he has opened before when he was at Northamptonshire. So I'm pretty sure he can bat anywhere in the top 3. Is he an option?
Listen, he started off with 100. If we're going to stick to what we've said is that everyone has an opportunity, good start. There's a lot of cricket to be played. He bangs out 2 or 3 more hundreds, well in the frame. And I think that's how the selectors have got to think. I think they've got to really reward county performances. If there's a spot there and he is the one who has scored the most runs, then why not? Why not?
You're suddenly talking like a selector almost, I've noticed.
Why? Oh, I'm just talking like I always talk. There's been people that have tweeted me like, "What's your team?" etc. Actually, you shouldn't be picking the team right now. Let it play out. There's a lot to play out. There's a lot of cricket before the first Test match, and we have talent. We have talent. We just need to get the thing to come together a little bit better, and in a way, question our own mindset. The management right now, you don't need to be stuck with like you said, "Oh, Jamie Smith's too good a player." I agree. That doesn't always mean that he gets in the best 11. I think they've got to go away from this mindset as these are my best players. I'm just going to juggle them in whatever way possible. Actually, people need to play in their roles. I do sound like
Just pulling your
I
leg,
do.
just pulling your leg, buddy. Everyone knows you've applied for the job, and don't worry, guys, we will keep you posted on that. Just going back to Emilio Gay, uh, the reason I don't really think he's a contender is, and I don't know how much you've seen of him, is I'm not sure his technique would stand up. He's got a very strange technique where, as a left-hander, his front foot, his right foot, he almost closes himself off. Like his right foot comes forward, and he looks like massive LBW candidate. I mean, obviously, he finds a way of getting away with that, and he seems to withdraw his front leg. But I do look at that and worry and think, you know what? The extra pace, the extra canniness of Test bowlers, is he going to be able to get around that technical flaw?
Yeah, listen, he's an outsider at the minute, right? There's no, I don't think anyone's disputing that. Technique is a very interesting conversation, full stop. I think, there's many people that have played Test cricket or been, that have had techniques that to the eye you think, oh, he's not going to work out, a little bit more pace, better bowlers. You never know until someone's actually done it. And sometimes, again, that would be my thing of challenging your own. We're making judgment calls as to what might happen, and you might be right. But if he bangs out 300 or 400s, then with that technique, something is working. And I think you've got to sometimes sort of let it play out, as opposed to just making judgment calls before it's played out, because then you're only going to look for very specific types of techniques.
Just to finish off on county cricket, I want to talk about a county, and that is Sussex, who, for me, one of my favourite counties. Small club, have had success, lovely place to go, produced some very good players over the years. They actually look like they got a pretty good side this year too, because they smashed Leicestershire in the first game. But they're in a bit of turmoil. They've been handed a points deduction for financial mismanagement. I think they lost something like £1.3 million in the previous financial year. So the ECB have put them in special measures. They've given them a points deduction, which is going to be a big problem for them, if they want to have any chance of competing at the top end. And to top it all off, the head coach, Paul Farbrace, who's been around the block, he's announced that he is going at the end of the season. So it's been a pretty disastrous start to the season off the field. But just in general, is that a bit of a worry for the county game, that in this era of all this money flooding in from the 100, and we've got a county like Sussex reporting that they've made a big loss and the head coach wants to jump ship, and they've been given a points deduction? I thought the 100 money was going to end all of this stuff for a while.
Yeah, and that's what we were led to believe, right? And these counties initially took 1.3 million each, to more or less, and I think some of the smaller counties have sort of taken that short-term cash for long-term problems. So that was initially what the 100 offered them, 1.3 million, and now privatizing, same. So now they've got, I'm giving a ballpark figure, say they've got 25 million. So they've now, the next part is they've sold themselves for 25 million, and the problem still exists. So what is the problem is, and the next time, if there is a next time, which I think could happen for some of the smaller counties, there's going to be nothing left to sell. And that has got to be worrying signs for the game. If you speak to a lot of the anti-100 people, they'll say, well, this is not by coincidence. This is very much by design. It was designed to get the county game to 10 or 12 counties. Very, very worrying time that it started. And I think I've always said with county cricket or cricket in England as a whole, people don't pay attention to mismanagement of all stuff for long enough to actually sort it out. It's like right now, Sussex is the talk, so everyone's concentrated on it. In a couple of 2-3 weeks' time, it'll be business back to usual, and people just carry on like it never happened. In terms of the coach, I heard the interview. He said that he's in his 4th year. That's normally a good cycle. And anyway, on the field, it could, by the performance this week, it could free them up. And I think that's what he talked about. They've got nothing to lose. In a way, they can just come and enjoy playing cricket. And that's when you play your best cricket. So I think on the field, for the players, they're in shop windows as individuals, good performances, out of contract, money will be short. So in a way, they're all playing for themselves, and that's sometimes not that bad a place because if they perform and only 5 or 6 of them perform, the team's going to do really well. But yeah, I think from a financial point of view, there's two schools of thought. One, which is starting to come to fruition, is that this was always going to happen, no matter how much you sold it away.
All right, let's talk IPL. It's been rolling on, hasn't it? We've had a couple of cracking games, and actually, that's what I want to speak about first. Is the game that we saw last night, which was Gujarat Titans beating the Delhi Capitals by 1 run, but they shouldn't have done really because David Miller, playing for the Capitals against his old side, the Titans, got them in a really good position. In fact, they needed 2 runs off 2 balls. He's got Kuldeep Yadav at the other end, who's not a complete rabbit. He can hold a bat. He's not terrible. And David Miller refused a single on the penultimate ball, right? Even though that single would have tied the score. So they got at least a super over, and then he's relying on Kuldeep to get one, or they scamper a bye, or something like that. And this just got me thinking, we've spoken about this before, right? It's one of my pet peeves, is when you've got a batter, and sometimes it happens when you've got a genuine batter at the other end, and that batter is arrogant enough to say, look, hang on a minute, I'm going to turn down singles here because I think I'm better. I'm in a better position to win the game than you are. And it does work sometimes. Look, we've seen Dhoni do it loads of times, but sometimes it doesn't work as well. And in this case, I just think it's crazy. Like, when you got 2 off 2 balls, you can tie the game, right? And in the end, they get run out. Last ball, going for a single. I think Josh Butler hits the stumps from keeper. They're running through for a bye, and they lose the game by 1 run. He had the option to tie the game and then just trust the other bloke. Like, we've got into this situation now where, like, batters just don't trust the other batter. They're just like, no, I'll do it. I'll do it all myself. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think if they needed 3, I would have understood it because that one wouldn't have tied it. Listen, when you make decisions like that, the outcome is what decides whether it was a good one or a bad one. And it was a bad one. If you're batting first, again, I still haven't, I can understand it. The in batter, a senior batter with so much experience, wants to give himself a chance to hit a 6. It's not the game on the line type thing. But in this situation, the fact that it would have tied, he's got it wrong. I'd actually say, even if they'd have chased it, I think that's a mistake because once you've tied, you can't lose. And then, you've got to trust this day and age for, lower order batters not to be trusted to get a single run. That again is not right at all because most lower order batters spend a lot of time on their batting because most T20 games or short format games are won by, but they're won at the end. So you're going to be required to get a single here, 2 there. So I think David Miller's got that wrong for sure. And the outcomes prove that as well. And I'm with you. I don't like it. I don't like it at all when singles are turned down. I think you've got to have a very, very good reason to justify that, in my opinion, because everyone, spends time on their batting and should be able to, put their best foot forward. And it's also quite, from a confidence point of view, Kuldeep, I just don't like it. So I'm with you. I think it's terrible. And he's got it wrong. His team's, lost because of it as well.
Yeah, it's crept into the game. It's become accepted, but I don't think it's a good team policy. I think it's more of a selfish policy, and it can work. But let's stamp it out, guys. Let's start a campaign. All right, I'm going to start a campaign.
Run your singles.
Set up a Twitter account. Yeah, exactly. I'll set up a Twitter account. Get behind it. One more thing I want to mention from the IPL before we move on to the PSL is Rajasthan, who were terrible last year, like one of the two worst teams along with CSK. They made a couple of player trades, so they quite brave ones. They let go of Samson, who now obviously is close to the peak of his form, and he's gone to CSK. But they brought in Jadeja and Sam Curran. Now Sam Curran's out injured. I think he's missing the whole season, isn't he? So that's unfortunate. But Jadeja, what they needed was a spinner. So they've got him and they've got Bishnoi. So last year they had no real spin. Now they've got Bishnoi and Jadeja. Both started well with the ball. Jadeja gives you a bit with the bat as well. They've got Archie, who's always been there as a gun. Nondre Berger is bowling well. I like him, left arm seamer from South Africa. So all of a sudden they've got a much better looking bowling attack. And then you've got Suryavanshi, who's at the next level in his game. He's gone on a year, and you've got the Jaiswal Suryavanshi opening partnership, which could be one of the best, if not the best, in the tournament come the end of it. I mean, could they be contenders this year? Could they actually possibly even contend for the title? They've won all three.
Well, they've won all three, so why not? T20 cricket goes like that. They were the first IPL winners. When they had the smallest salary in the tournament, so why not? And when you've got young players like Suryavanshi, who fearless, you've seen him go about his business, very, very excitable. Jaiswal, who I think is, I just think he's just brilliant. He's got the technique, the power, the big run scoring in Test cricket, the flamboyance in the short form game, and actually for someone young, very, very experienced as well now. And then when you bring people like Jadeja into your setup, just everything that individuals like that bring can help everyone else sort of lift their levels, and that seems to have happened. They've just sold the team as well, so you've got new owners. So there's a little bit of excitement just before the tournament started. Why not? And when you've got someone like Jofra Archer in your ranks, you've always got a chance. You're always in the game, right? And getting 3 wins early on in the tournament puts you in a really good space. Is just to make sure that they build from here and not just become like, oh, yeah, we've had a great start, now we can ease off. It's important to just keep getting better. And IPL is such a long tournament, so you're going to go through phases where it might not work, or it might, like Suryavanshi might go out and have 2 bad innings. It's in moments like that where the experience of the likes of Jadeja, the Archer, comes in and keeps, the young lads confident and attacking.
Yeah. Keep your eyes on them. It would be a massive turnaround if they can do that and be up there at the top. I do like Rajasthan. I've always liked them. I've always liked the kit. I love the pink kit, or the pink and blue. Speaking of kits, have you seen Lucknow Super Giants' new kit?
Well, no.
It's stripes, right? It's blue and red stripes.
Yeah, the stripes part. But is there anything else? Like, am I missing something? Because I know they in their Manchester one, they've got the elephant. Am I missing something? Is there something else apart from the stripes?
No, that's it. I mean, like, you don't often see stripes. You never see stripes in cricket. Like, I was just a bit sort of taken aback by it. I don't really like it. They look kind of like ice cream sellers or something. They look a little bit weird, but it's interesting. I'm not dead against it. I'm just saying cricket kits, they can be quite formulaic, quite boring, can't they? But I honestly think that's the first time I've seen stripes in a cricket match.
You know what? At Yorkshire, there was for a few years we had some horrific kits. We had some horrific kits. We had honestly, we were changing kit every week. If you get a chance, pull some of them. Like, there was all sorts of colours going off: yellow, pink, orange. So yeah, it's seen fair share. But it's interesting you mentioned the stripes. Is it because actually it'd be quite difficult to see as the opposition if if there's a stripes, kits with stripes? Is that why cricket kits are very much similar? I didn't know what you meant, because I thought, have they gone something rogue again that I've completely missed or something?
No, mate, just the stripes. But that's a good point. I mean, yeah, maybe because if it's two-tone, and it's moving and the ball coming out of it, it might make it harder to pick up. But if it's just one colour, then it's easier, right?
And the owner doesn't mind the old just being in the headlines, does he? God, that was an interesting start. Did you see? Did they do a second video to try and get away from the first video? Is that what happened? Because that's what social media is telling us.
I'm not too sure. No, the only video I've seen recently of Loch Ness Super Giants is them all doing a dance. Have you seen that one? Shami and Punt and Aidan Markram. That's quite good, actually.
Oh, I've seen it.
Very
The
good.
AI video. That's it. The AI one doing the dance is hilarious because I think one of the other teams posted under it. Can you tell us the prompt? It was very good.
Yeah, I did. I looked at it at first. I thought, "Oh, is that real?" And then I realised, no, there's no way. There's no way Markram's got those Indian moves. There's no way. All right, man. Let's talk about PSL. Full disclaimer: I haven't really watched any of it. I have been keeping on top of it in terms of what's been going on, scores and off the field stories as well. And the odd thing, and obviously I saw the ball tampering and all that. We talked about that last week, but just give us a rundown, mate. What's happened of note in the last few days?
Yeah, it's. I mean, listen, it's been an interesting tournament with no crowd. It's been really difficult in terms of atmosphere, and I think the players have sort of played to that a little bit. I don't think the standard's been that great. Um, you've got the two new teams winless, bottom of the league. You've got Multan Sultans who, with their Australian contingent, Tim Payne as the coach, Steve Smith, Josh Philippe. Really, really, Ashton Turner as captain, who have just flown out the blocks in the Lahore leg. The tournament's now moved to Karachi for a few games, and yeah, there's been Naseem Shah after the tweet, etc. He'd had an intercostal injury, and he's out of the tournament. So another young, promising seamer who's only recently played for Pakistan, Daniel Ahmed Khan, he did a hamstring. So the tournament's just not got going from a spectacle point of view. Like I said, I think the lack of fans has been a big part of it. And the players have not really, I don't think, been able to lift it. You've got Mohammad Rizwan in terms of from a Pakistani international context a little bit. You've got Rizwan who's sort of captain of one team, one of the new teams, and he hasn't really got going at all. The other new team, Hyderabad Kings, they've got teams in the US and they've brought some of them boys over and they're just not up to standard. So yeah, it's been a difficult tournament from a standards point of view. I don't think on the field there's been a lot, in my view, that I would say, wow, that's really, really good stuff. The only highlight, and there has been a highlight, is these two brothers, Arafat Minhas and Samir Minhas. Samir Minhas played in the Under-19 World Cup, and I watched him get 150 odd here in the Asia Cup against India as well. He looks a real talent. A talent in the way I don't think I've seen in Pakistan cricket for a while. That he has the technical tools, and then he just extends on them to play the attacking shots. Really of the younger that generation. So real high hopes for him. If knowing Pakistan cricket, I think there'll be too much excitement and they will get excited and they'll bring him in to the Pakistan team too early. He's hardly played any first class cricket. His brother, who's played a little bit more, has been involved in the past, is a left arm spinning all rounder. And he has super impressed me. He's got a beautiful action, good spin on the ball, has been most valuable player, and then he's coming at the end and done lots with the bat as well, and been one of the big factors of Multan Sultan's performances. And their father is a professional photographer, so he's been a photographer at the ground, watching his sons light it up. It's for me, it's been the only highlight of the tournament. That and the Australian contingent, actually. I think watching Steve Smith in Pakistan has been a highlight for all Pakistani fans. It'd be brilliant if the tournament can now start bringing the crowds in and the crowds can enjoy someone like Steve Smith. But the real highlight would be the Minhas brothers. I just want them to exercise caution. Don't pick them too early. Let them play some cricket. Both real prospect, and Samir specifically as an opening batter. As I said, there's not many batters that have come into the Pakistan team for a while that I felt, wow, technically sound, but with the ability to hit it as well. So yeah, that's the lowdown. As I said, hopefully the tournament can start kicking into some sort of action from a cricketing point of view, and we can start seeing some little bit, crowd back and a bit more of a wow factor.
There you go. That's all you need to know about the PSL in 3 minutes, courtesy of Azim Rafiq. And actually, I had heard about Samir Minahas as well, and amazing story, isn't it? So, firstly, I'm going to do now is go and have a little look at him on YouTube, and you guys should all do the same. If you got any thoughts about kits, I'll chat on kits and what you think of the Lucknow kit, or any thoughts on some terrible kits over the years, or your favourite kits. Just let us know at INJC Pod on Instagram. We're also on X as well. We don't use that as much because it's a bit of a cesspit, isn't it, X? But we do check it, and we are on it a bit. So just let us know if you can think of anything funny. And we'll be back next week, of course, with plenty more to talk about from the weird and wonderful world of cricket. We will see you then.